I don't care and it doesn't matter. I don't care and it doesn't matter. And people will say, well, Jeff, how do I deal with rejection? Do you ultimately just get to a point where you no longer care? I would say no. I say you arrive at a point where you realize it never mattered in the first place. When I first started like going out and meeting people, very often, I'd be like, can't they see? I'd like go home with somebody or I'd be out with some new friend or what. I'd be like, man, I hope they don't find out. Waiting for the mask to slip. You know, it's like drawing ripped dabs on a fat belly type of thing. Core confidence doesn't mean like I think I'm awesome and I'm going to act like I'm awesome for no reason. Has anyone ever here read the book by Nathaniel Branden, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem? Okay, this classic self-help canon. Self-esteem, it's like a muscle that you must build. You cannot just say I'm awesome with no criteria and have that be genuine. When you have self-esteem, it means 2 things. Number 1, you believe that you deserve the things that you want. You're not some weasel trying to steal a piece of cheese or like scam other people. And like, I hope that they can't see. Having self-esteem, it allows you to believe you are deserving of the things you want. Number 2, equally important, you are confident in your ability to handle the challenges that will be thrown at you in pursuit of those goals. So I know if I go out, yeah, some people might, talk shit or they might try to interfere or try to like foil my plans for success in whatever domain, but I can handle that. Like I'm not going to get flustered, I'm not going to get stymied, I'm not going to be flabbergasted, I'm not going to be at a loss or any other word that means I don't know what the fuck to say. I'm going to roll with the punches. It doesn't matter. I've heard it all before and I don't care because it doesn't matter. By the way, when I go out, like when I was first going out, that was a mantra I would say to myself at all times. I don't care and it doesn't matter. I don't care and it doesn't matter. It's a realization. It's not an acceptance that like, oh, I'm getting rejected, but I can just deal with it now. It's like, no. I understand on a deep instinctual level, none of this shit matters. It does not matter. Yes?
The thing that occurred to me is the blasting pure energy of self, you said, right? That like, the concern that occurs to me is offending people.
Well, of course, context is very important. So you got to take decorum into consideration. If I'm at like the symphony and I just start I'm in the stands like wearing like a raggedy t-shirt and Birkenstocks and I'm like, dur, or I go to the mayor's black and white ball or something and I'm just like sticking my dick in the mashed potatoes or something, to quote the Beastie Boys, or if you're being audited by an IRS agent or something, there's like context is very important. Right. But generally when we talk about these kind of matters, or if it's like in a tight-knit peer group where you're kind of like trying to get into that hierarchical situation and you might trigger other people to kind of be like, yo, you don't belong here, we don't do things like that here. There's a whole other host of things that go into that. But strictly speaking I would say it's always better to err on the side of too much and then dial it back. Because if you do make a social error, or you overstep the bounds, or you offend somebody in that way, and you make a genuine, like you acknowledge it and you make a genuine effort to like correct the mistake, people will generally understand that. But if we're talking strictly about like, meeting people out randomly, like random strangers, you can pretty much, you'd be shocked at like how little any of it matters because you're not going to see these people again. Now, to be fair, this also means that you're not going out like being offensive for the sake of being offensive because that's another thing. I see some students sometimes, sorry, I'm getting a little hot up here. They will have a tendency to start like they'll perhaps hear myself or like one of my colleagues say some outrageous things sometimes, right? And then they'll be, well, Jeff says the outrageous things, I'm going to say the outrageous things. But the thing is, well, first of all, so the student asked me, because he kept saying he's like saying this ridiculous stuff, these very, not risque, but like very like offensive things, and because he, abortion jokes and this, that, the next thing. And he's like, but you guys say it. But you guys say it. And then my assistant said to him, there's a reason that the 4-year-old can't use the stove and the 13-year-old can use the stove. Because the 4-year-old's gonna burn the fucking house down. You're the 4-year-old. You don't have, oh, thanks, man. You don't have that understanding of how to like fix it after the fact. So remember, when I'm, like I said, when I'm going out there and I'm like kind of blasting the personality out, and I think blasting is like not really a great word because it implies that you're just like, hey, 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 like it can be very calm. It can be like a very smoldering sort of intensity. You know, even with just like a raised eyebrow, it can be stuff like that. But I think it's imperative, absolutely imperative, that you also are demonstrating that emotional acuity. Those must go hand in hand. If you're just like blasting, 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 you're going to be perceived as this person with poor social intelligence. And it's probably going to do more harm than good. But if you have that ability to, so again, and it can be something as simple as you say the thing that's a bit over the top, and then you just make a slightly like self-deprecating facial expression, like, yeah, I know. Anyway, it's like saying this ridiculous stuff, but it's tongue in cheek. Or is it? But it's tongue-in-cheek. Or is it? Yes?
Wouldn't that be a little bit dishonest to what your intention was? Because if you're going to execute it and then decide that dialing it back to their comfort is the right thing to do in a social circumstance, what was the intention of doing it in the first place?
Right. So I think that you're simultaneously, like I'm unapologetically expressing I'm not trying to do anything by expressing the personality. It's just letting your light shine, for lack of a better term. But that means sometimes I'm going to say things that are other people don't necessarily like.
Is that your responsibility to mitigate their feelings about it?
Well, I'm going to do so because I want them to have a pleasant experience generally. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make people have a bad time. I'm not trying to like fuck with people, you know what I mean? I just want to demonstrate that I have empathy. So it's more of a demonstration of empathy, but at a certain point, if they don't like it, they're more than welcome to, remove themselves from the situation, and many will. I'm not going to like begrudge them of that, because that's another thing. Sometimes people they're like, I'm not into this. They're like, well, fuck you then. They take it so personally, and then they become angry. It's like, well, you don't like everybody. Why would you expect everybody to like you? When you have that kind of core confidence of, number one, and how do you get core confidence? You have self-awareness. You're not just derping through life thinking everything's hunky-dory in your life. You're like, I'm aware of like certain predilections I might have. I'm working on myself. Number two, you have self-acceptance. People will say, Jeff, I'm trying to work on myself and make myself better. How do I accept myself in the moment, given that I'm not that best person I could be yet? Well, it's in the same way that you wouldn't think less of a 4-year-old for being incapable of doing the things an adult can. It's not an imperfect adult. They're just at a certain stage. So the best way to ensure that that child becomes a healthy, functioning 25-year-old is to love and accept them in the moment. You got to do the same with yourself. The third one is, if I'm remembering this correctly, self-assertiveness. And you've got to be willing to, like, what will you accept? What do you find funny? What will you not find funny? This could be like if you're standing there and somebody says something like racist in the group, are you just going to be like, ha, 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 ha? Or are you going to be like, yo, that's fucked up? Are you going to assert what you want? What's the other ones? Living with integrity and living on purpose. You do what you say, you stick to your word, and you have a purpose in life, and you're on that path. Now, what does that even mean? Like, let's distinguish between purpose and goals here. What's an example of small goal you might have? To make this many more new friends, to date this specific kind of person, to get this many more clients. Okay, those are small part goals. What distinguishes that from purpose? Purpose is like a higher star that guides you, so to speak. So what's my purpose right now? Well, my purpose, if I had to tell you, it's not to gain more money or to get more romantic partners or any of that stuff, like twist my fucking arm, I'm not gonna say no, but like, my purpose is to come to a greater understanding of the so-called human energy system as it functions in life and communication. And in doing so, come to a greater understanding of myself. And in doing that, gain a greater ability to impart that information and knowledge and understanding to other people so they can make their lives better. And in doing so, make the world a better place in my own small way, right? That's my purpose. And so with that, in that context, every interaction that I have, whether it's good or bad, every student I have, regardless of their skill level, is an opportunity to move towards that. So when you have that core confidence, basically what this means is you understand the value proposition for other people. Why would somebody want to be your friend? Why would somebody want to go out with you? Why would somebody want to become your client? If you can't very clearly quantify that and you don't know, how the fuck are they going to know? If you don't know that, how are they going to know it? And it's just going to be like, the and again, you're going to feel like this little weasel, this little fucking rodent skulking around in the corners trying to steal a piece of cheese. And you might trick some people sometime, but if you're running a business, again, the word's going to get out very quickly that this guy's like a piece of shit, it's a scammer, and he does not provide value, at least not what he's promising. And you know, even if you date people, you get somebody to go out with you, you're not going to have a lot of repeat business, let's just say. You're going to have a lot of trouble maintaining relationships long term. And it's just a very kind of like empty type of existence. It's not super fulfilling. So that's where core confidence comes in.
It's important. This program is really important, and I don't know what I would do if I didn't have it. I would probably keep on living being really confused, like why don't people like me, this and that. And why are my interactions always so platonic? You'll learn so much from it. Yeah, I can definitely recommend it. It was worth the money, definitely. It's the first RSD product I bought. Jeff, thank you for putting out this product. It's fucking amazing.